Oh dear. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ready Set Grow Show with Deb and Hillary. We are here for a fantastic Tuesday episode. We are continuing. Who are you becoming? Who are you becoming? And today we're focusing on an element of those who are in home-based businesses. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on that because this is how you have to become a certain way for this to happen. Building and scaling. Okay, you can't build and scale if you don't become a certain person, and you can't build and scale if you don't, let's to use a word, duplicate what you are becoming in your team, right? So we're talking about building and scaling here, right? And Deb, give us that, the quick, I guess, I don't know, like what it is that you have to grow into, because to build and scale, you first have to. So this is the way I look at it. I'll start off. If you're scaling something, yeah, and we tag team. That's what we always do. You guys know this already, right? Um, so if you're scaling something, it has to exist, right? That's the way I see it. So like my whole advertising brain, you have to have something set up before you can scale it, right? So the building part is important, but even before you build whatever it is that you're building, you have to be in a certain way, in a certain position. And we see this time and time again in the home base area, right? And even in other businesses, which I can't really think of right now. But when we think about it, any business, you have to become a bigger leader, all right? And
And
by
how do you do
becoming a
that?
leader, and how do you do that?
You do that by investing in yourself very first.
Yeah.
Helping yourself grow. And when you do that, that means that you're learning. You're learning how to become an entrepreneur or a better entrepreneur, a leader, a better leader. And then after you have invested and you've learned, what do?
You
You
go back and
teach it.
teach.
You have to teach it because if you are not working on the people on your team, if you are not trying to help them, first of all, you lead by example.
Yeah.
And second of all, you have to help them grow. You have to teach them or talk to them about investing and then learning and then teaching it. Because if they don't become leaders, they're employees.
Exactly. If
And
you don't
so there
become
you
leader,
are.
yeah. If
Yeah,
you don't
so there
become,
you are. You're just kind of stuck.
yeah.
So you have to do yourself first. You have to lead. So in order to lead, you have to take care of yourself first. So
And last week we
and
talked a lot about that in terms of when it comes to the marketing genius, you're pouring into yourself. You're doing a lot of learning and studying. But to be a leader, you have to get into the trenches, right? And it's interesting because, we're as a lot of people in the home based industry, or even doing business online, they know what they have to do, and a lot of them don't do it, right? And sort of preaching to the choir here a little bit, but when you know what you have to do, you don't have any, like, it's almost as if you've been given a chance, like a ticket chance, and you're either going to put it inside of the, like, I don't want to use lottery, but if you have been given information, you now know what you have to go and do. Like they say, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is where the power comes, because I can know everything that I'm supposed to do in digital marketing, everything that I'm supposed to do in building a home-based business. But if I don't go out there and do it, it
yep,
means nothing. All right. You've got to go ahead
yep,
and apply it. And then once you start applying it, then you will see results. Yes, they may be slow, they may be fast, depending on your what's the word, your influence. All right, so that's another thing that, a lot of people, they get a little discouraged, but forget about where you compare to, and I think that's important. um, because you need to teach that as well to your team members, that you can't compare yourself to others. You just have to go the slow and steady. Like yesterday, side story. Yesterday, I was talking to my daughter about the tortoise and the hare, right? And she was saying how, oh, well, Granny moves so slowly, and I'm just like, have you ever read the tortoise and the hare? It's like you want to go quickly and do this and do that fast, fast, fast. But who wins the race? The slow and steady. The slow and steady wins the battle, wins the race. Right?
Yeah. 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 And it's funny because we talk about comparison.
Mm-hmm.
We all get that little voice will turn on. I don't care how experienced you are, the little voice still is there, but you have to learn how to click it off. But I just was talking with one of my team members, and she was comparing. She was comparing herself. And I said, no, 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 no. You can't do that. You are doing an awesome job of what you were doing. And, and she just kind of, but it's kind of, it's ironic that when Hillary and I try, I'm sorry, I have a mint in my mouth because I'm trying to keep myself from coughing. When Hillary and I plan what we're going to talk about, we don't just come on here. We do a little planning, and we have fun doing it. But the thing is, you have to know, you have to have that goal. Our goal is to give you guys value, and everything we've talked about. Invest, learn, teach. Like Hillary said, you can have all the knowledge in the world. You can be the best, but if you don't put it into action, and teaching is action,
Yes.
It's no good. It's technically no good to you either.
Yeah.
One of my mentors told me, she said it several times. She said, Deb, you've got so much in there. You've got to get it out. You've got to give it to others so you can put more in for yourself. Oh, I like that analogy. So
Yeah.
I love being here with Hillary on Tuesdays because hopefully you think we're bringing you value. We think we are.
And hopefully you're picking up.
You.
Yeah, and hopefully you're picking up little nuggets as we go along the way. One of the things, as you said, one of my mentors, she would always say that she does not teach anything that she does not do. All right. And that's very powerful because then what you could see is you look at the mentors and you see what they're doing. And even our mentors inside the community, they've actually fessed up sometimes when they know things aren't going right because they know that they're not doing what they're saying that they should, seeing what they're teaching. And the learning comes in the doing because even our shared mentor shared something that was very powerful. And I've told many people that before. I'm just like, yeah, I hate talking to people. But if I'm going to, but if you're going to be successful in any business, you're going to have to do it. So one of the things that you have to do is practice talking to people. So a lot of people, they want to be in business and all they want to do is sit behind a screen, an anonymous screen, and never communicate with people. Right. And that is something that when it comes to building and scaling, you have to be in that environment where you have to speak to people. Right. And I have been there where I just don't like speaking to people. I am the queen of sit down behind your computer and just type away. Right. So when I first started, I was the queen of blogging. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to blog because nobody could even hear my voice. And then I started doing videos and they were recorded so that I could take 10 takes and delete the bad ones before. And then eventually I started getting into the live video where we have all sorts of things like people doing power washing outside, internet not working so great, audio, and you just go with it because you have to learn and you progress and you get better through that learning process. And a lot of people in the community have come in and, I know one of the things that they're afraid to do is the live. And I could totally relate. That was me. I did not want to do a live video. And it's just like, when you're in online business, people are going to connect with you, know more about you. Let's pause.
Sorry.
And we do things like that, right? We pause for the clock. Anyway, right? But people are going to learn more about you through live video. I'll give you a quick
Mhm.
example because I was on LinkedIn this morning putting up a video and I happened to see this other video in the feed and there were subtitles. So I was reading the subtitles and I watched the whole video, but by subtitle, right? So I didn't hear the voice. And then I said, let me listen to this person. Let me get her voice. When I turned on the audio and I started listening to her voice and also reading, I started crying because I was hearing her voice. There's something about the human interaction, especially during this COVID time now,
Yeah.
that when you're able to communicate with other people through this medium, it's a lot more powerful. Now, that was an inspirational video, a motivational type video, but just hearing the person's voice made me cry. I watched the entire video looking at the closed captions, and I did not shed a tear. See, so
Yeah.
so there's that
And
difference there.
um, I it took me a while to do lives,
Mhm.
and actually my first live was sideways, and it's like, okay, whatever, but it shows people that, first of all, I'm learning. Actually, I will tell you what I did yesterday. I did my very first interview on StreamYard. Hillary sets this StreamYard up. Well, I have a StreamYard and I set mine up and did it for the first time, and and it came out okay. But
Yeah.
that's the thing. If they can see the expressions on your face, if they can hear the emotion, the just the inflections in your voice, they can connect. And if they're not the person that's supposed to connect to you, then they'll leave, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We need to have people to know us, like us, and trust us.
Mhm.
Well, they get to know us by hearing us and watching us. Oh my gosh, she's not perfect. I could do this, that kind of thing. So then they like us because
Yeah.
they know that, gosh, we're just right in there. I
Mhm.
understand. And then they trust because they have built that relationship. And I have to tell you, the Zooms of the StreamYards have saved me. Humans are by nature social beings.
Yes.
The worst thing that COVID did for me was not let me socialize. I love hugs. I love to talk to people. And okay, now we're in the house forever, it seems like. Now we're getting out. And so the doing the Zooms and the StreamYards, which
Mhm.
are really equivalent, um, has saved me. It's helped me.
Yes.
Um, I just wish every time I get on with Hillary, I wish I could reach through and hug her, but I can't. But it is what it is.
Mm.
It's the next best thing. So um,
Yes.
don't be afraid of doing those lives. Nobody's really going to laugh at you. And don't compare yourself to somebody who's been doing lives forever and ever and ever and has it down. They
Mhm.
still screw up. They still stumble over their tongue.
Yeah.
It's okay. Oh, and
And
like
that's
Hillary
the thing.
said, we have no control over the internet. So,
Exactly. And the other thing too is just like what we're saying, when you're building, you have to recognize that you are always in a learning pattern. There's always something new to learn. And that once you recognize that you don't know it all, you are always going to be improving, right? And that's something that's really important when you're building and scaling, that it's very, I say a lot of these topics could always relate to parenting, because the
mhm.
funny thing is, it's like, this morning I wanted to bring my breakfast to my desk, right? And we've got a rule in our house where we don't eat anywhere but in the living room or in on the patio, the porch. and I was ready to bring my breakfast to the desk so that I could start working and eat at the same time. And I remember the rule, because even though my kids aren't like watching me right now, they it's almost like you've got to do what you want to teach,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it comes right back to that, that if you're building a business online or building a home-based business, you've got to do what you will eventually teach. And you sometimes you actually pinch yourself, like you stop yourself. You're kind of like, yeah, I don't need to talk to 5 people today, I'll talk to them tomorrow. And then it becomes 10, and then I'll be like, yeah, I don't need to talk to, and then by the end of the week you're like, how many people did you talk to? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to
Mm-hmm.
catch yourself. It's just like, how many lives did you do? Yeah, you have a goal to do X number of lives, or you have a goal to do X number of training, put out X number of posts, whatever the thing is. If that's what it takes to build your business, and we're not talking about, we're just talking about the building, the foundations. You've got to do it every day, and then you teach what you're doing every day. So you can't teach if you're doing nothing, right? Talking
Right. Right.
talking to
It's,
myself.
it's like our, yeah, it's like our children. They watch us.
Yeah.
They model us.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had overheard one of your children or a couple of your children as they're playing, all of a sudden something that comes out of their mouth, the tone and everything is like, oh my golly. Okay. So
Every day.
it's yeah, it's kind of like in a sense, I'm gonna tell you this. I wrote it down.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to lower your standards. Um, you have to stay consistent. But what you have to do is raise your expectations. And so that kind of stuck with me. That's why I wrote it down. And so it's the same thing. Like Hillary wanted to go and eat someplace that she knew was not the way she raised her children. And she is raising her children, but it caught her. It caught her. And that's what happens. She kind of wanted to lower that standard a little bit.
Right.
And then she said, no, I can't do it. And so she raised it right back up.
Raise
So,
it back up. Yeah,
mhm.
definitely. So that is building. You've got to build and scaling. So in case you didn't get that message, the building is you building yourself and doing the work. Scaling comes when now you start to teach others exactly how to do what you're doing. All right. And there's always going to be a learning process. And it's always better when you do it together, right? That's the way I see it. So if you're learning and you want to bring people along the journey, because a lot of people have built businesses literally that way. They said, come along for the journey with me. And we're on a journey, right, Deb? We're on a journey. So
Oh, we are.
send us a message, send us a personal message, drop a comment below. But definitely we're on a journey, and you're going to continue seeing the growth, and we're going to continue to pour into you the value. If there are any comments or questions that you have around something, because we're coming up to the end of the year, if there's something that you want us to talk about, address, discuss, drop it in the comments below. All right. And we will see how many of them we could get to.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great Tuesday, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Bye.